Nephalem will stop you.
No one can stop death.
Why are the Nephalem so powerful? Enough to make heaven and hell tremble before them? And more importantly, what does it mean for Diablo 4?
I saw the Nephalem in a new light. He is a hero who can defeat the champions of heaven and hell, and a barbarian who protects the innocent. But within him beats a mortal heart that will one day be tempted to corruption. On that day, will he have the strength to resist? Or will he be our doom?
Since the first spark of creation, angels have waged the eternal conflict to defeat the forces of darkness and corruption.
Sanctuary was created by the rogue angel Inarius and his demon confidant, Lilith, the mother of man, seen to return in the Diablo 4 gameplay trailer. They led a group of renegade demons and angels where they created a new world through the World Stone, one where they would be free from the eternal conflict. In an act without precedent, Inarius and Lilith mated and created offspring. In time, other renegade demons and angels did likewise and produced offspring of their own. Thus, the Nephalem were born, the children of both angels and demons, yet a new entity in their own right.
We are the spirits of the Nephalem, the ancient ones. We have been chosen to guard sacred Mount Ariad, wherein the World Stone rests.
Few are worthy to stand in its presence.
Few still can comprehend its true purpose.
Before you enter, you must defeat us.
The first generation of these Nephalem were called the Ancients. It is believed that they set out exploring, seeking answers, attempting to understand the world in which they lived. Millennia after their birth, Deckard Cain speculated that thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of these Ancients existed, though by the time of his life, only the names of Bul Kathos, Vasily, Esu, and Rathma was remembered, and treated more like gods than men. We first see these ancient Nephalem in-game in Diablo 2 as the three guardians of Mount Ariad. Though first-generation Nephalem were apparently a great deal larger than humans, this has not been reflected in-game as their ghosts are the same size as normal humans.
Every time I hear of you, warrior, your deeds become more legendary. But take heed, you are approaching the very summit of Mount Ariad. I have never dared venture there. It is sacred, our most holy place. The legends say it is guarded by the Ancient Ones, who block the path of all who are unworthy. Your reputation here does not matter. It will be the Ancients who determine your worthiness. Good luck.
There's no one left to stand against them.
Yet, not all was well among the Nephalem's parents, for they were far more powerful than either angel or demon. Their forebears feared that not only might the Nephalem become a threat, but might draw attention of the high heavens and the burning hells to Sanctuary. They knew that the commingling of their kind would be declared blasphemous, and that they would be destroyed if their refuge was discovered. Thus, some of the renegades called for the Nephalem to be eradicated, while others believed they should be spared. The dissension troubled Inarius, who called for a period of reflection, so that each of his subjects could consider the matter in solitude.
Fool! You have just ensured the doom of this world. You cannot even begin to imagine what you've set in motion this day.
Blessed Mother, save us.
Lilith, on the other hand, was driven into a mad frenzy by the threat of her children's extinction. Morphing into a horrific beast, she hunted down and murdered her fellow renegades, lest they do the same to the Nephalem. Enraged by her actions, Anarius couldn't bring himself to kill his beloved, and thus banished her to the void. Subsequently, the angel attuned the World Stone in such a manner to cause the powers of the Nephalem to diminish over time. Thus, the Nephalem became weaker over subsequent generations, their lifespans declining. Some of the Nephalem knew what happened and others didn't, and thought they were succumbing to some kind of plague. As they weakened, the civilizations the Nephalem had established began to splinter, and they fell into a dark age. Eventually, the Nephalem became mortals, giving rise to the race called humanity, a weaker mortal species, and without knowledge of its birthright. It was still possible for Nephalem and humans to produce offspring together. After the Sin War, where the World Stone was reset by Odyssean, thus diminishing the Nephilem's power, it was believed by some that by the 3rd century there were no Nephilim left in the world, though this turned out to be false.
I heard later that he was defeated. And that the Soul Stones were destroyed in Hellforge. All except one.
By the end of Diablo 2 in 1265, the World Stone was destroyed by Tyrael, lest humanity be turned to chaos through Baal's corruption of the relic. Thus, the mortal realm was left exposed to both high heaven and hell. However, within a generation, a new Nephilim walked in the world, their powers rivaling that of their distant ancestors once again. Ultimately, these Nephilim defeated Diablo himself, bringing an end to the eternal conflict and saving both heaven and the mortal realm from destruction. Soon afterwards, Sanctuary was saved by the Nephilim again after defeating Malthael and his Reapers.
I pray that it will be enough.
They burn my eyes, break my bones. I awaken in terror. There's no one left to stand against them.
But what does that mean for Diablo 4? With the World Stone destroyed, we haven't seen any way to quote-unquote rein in the unbridled power of the Nephilim. And while on paper having the logic of the why, as seemingly nobody human could defeat the powers of hell, the problems this causes are manifold. The first being angels and demons no longer hold value that they used to. As a being that can literally beat Diablo formed up with other evils and become the prime evil, an embodiment of Tathamet's power, the suspension of disbelief is somewhat negated. The demons hold any real threat post-Diablo 3 to the Nephilim. So how does Blizzard tackle this glaring problem in Diablo 4?
Take one last look at your shining heaven, Imperious. For soon, nothing of it shall remain but my laughter.
Well, with the return of Lilith, whose history is intimately bound with the Nephilim, we may be hunting her rogue offspring as hinted at by Tyrael at the culmination of Reaper of Souls. There may be another power dampener or unforeseen dying off of the Nephilim as well as the fact Anarius is also said to be in hell by the developers and without a jailer. So potentially the true parents, the progenitors of the Nephilim, are floating about in Diablo 4. What that means for their kin is unknown. Or perhaps Blizzard may choose to instead embrace the OP Nephilim gimmick further, and we wipe the table once more with demon and angel alike, but would fans truly accept this storyline? The cinematics thus far tell of a gritty, gothic and horror-fueled nightmare where demons are not to be trifled with, as seen in the first Diablo, and I dare say which harkens back to the original Diablo, and I dare say the only way to maintain such a storyline's integrity is make the player more Marius and less demigod. But what are your thoughts? Do you like knowing that your powers are explained? Or have Blizzard killed hell for you, making you a demigod? Honestly, I'd really love to get your take in the comments below.
You think me mad, old friend, but I know these dreams. They tell of the future, Hell is coming, brother. Hell is coming.
Every night, I've prayed to the ancients to bring us peace, and now you must fight them. Who shall I pray to now, warrior?